so cold, they do whatever to get it. Them out of towners, they won't last in my city. I'm from a city where they kill you for pennies. Stay out the way, cause they no love in the city.
What's going on? What is going on? Everybody know what today is. It's Busy with B Monday. Busy with B Monday. I am so excited. Yes, so welcome right here to WLBS Listen Vision Radios. And that song in the background, I'm going to let y'all get into it. I got my special co-host. I know y'all wondering.
My city going up in smoke, man, all my niggas dying. I seen his mama yesterday with tears in her eyes. They killed Makiyah, she was 10, that hurt her father pride. They killed Makiyah, she was 10, and I just don't know why. These streets so cold, they do whatever they get.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Them out of towners, they won't last in my city.
Fix this chair you sit in, because it's a little low. Yeah, sit up a little bit. Stand up. Let's put it up. I want you to be as high as. Are you sure? There we go. Okay. Yeah, you need. Yeah, we need to. Yes. There we go. Look at that. Yes.
I was feeling a little low. I wasn't gonna say
that. Yeah, I could not be looking down like you know.
But you kind of tall.
I am.
You know what I mean? I don't really tell people my size.
Yeah.
But I'm average.
See, this is what I'm saying. I didn't want you to have that short man complex.
No.
You know, but.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you are here. We got the Makiyah clan here. Shout out to Makiyah's mom. She couldn't make it. Something happened, and I just want her to feel better. So prayers is up for her. But guess what, y'all? The month of June, we highlight men anyway. You see how God just work?
Father's Day month.
Yeah. So this is the first time that I will be interviewing him and really hearing his side of how Makiyah's death has affected him, how he's grieving. I mean, just a dad's perspective. A lot of times in our community, we tend not to focus on the dads. Yeah. So.
That is very true. But we have one that's here, that's been
here. I'm excited. I'm excited. I know that he did some things. He went on walks and stuff like that. But before we get into that, let's just talk. Let's talk about the weekend. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. It was busy. I'm always in the streets doing something.
Yes. Talk about yourself. Brag a little bit.
I don't brag too much, but God has been good. I'm the pastor in the struggle, as most people know. My job is not as easy and complex. Okay, now we got some volume. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's how you do it. Superman. Yeah. But I've been a streets pastor for about 7 years now. I've really taken on the position of the street, knowing that the church is a pillar in the community, but it's even more important when you're outside of the church. Sometimes, and all of times, I think in this time, the church has lost touch with the community. We're too concerned about what goes on in the building and us, and not enough about them. There's not too many people who would say that, because I don't deal with pulpit politicians or politics. In the streets with the people is what Jesus always was. And so the Bible says, beware of false prophets. So there's a lot of people in the church that are false prophets, only because the word that they're preaching is true, but the action and deeds that they do are not there. So that is a constant problem. So my position is to be as vigilant as possible, as consistent, as persistent. And that's just what I've been doing. So
I see you, and we definitely going to get a little more into you. And like today is just really all about Makiyah. I want to send a shout out to Maurice Scott family.
Of course, the Scott family. We are praying for them as well.
Yes, they buried him over the weekend.
Yeah, correct? Yeah. Friday was the service, I believe, and there was another hardship that another family has to now battle. It's too often that it's happening. It's becoming too frequent. As I tell people all the time, it's almost like killing has become a new sport.
Yes.
So it's just something that we are talking about too often on every social platform.
And it's our kids, though.
Yeah.
It used to be some type of standards. I mean, when it come to killing, as far as, your wife will get a pass, your kids will get a pass. You wouldn't do certain things when the kids was out. And it's just like we have lost touch of that. Any crime is wrong, but it just used to be a time where we at least respect family,
Yeah.
and you go after the person you going after, not the
course.
whole block and the whole
Yeah.
community. So it's just a whole different situation out here, and we here today to talk about the life of Makiyah Wilson and some of the things that we are doing a year later to keep her name alive, to keep her legacy alive. But again, we are learning this from her dad.
Yeah.
And so her dad Mike has brought his mom, Pam,
Yeah.
and his wife.
Yeah. Amen.
And so they all gonna join us.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time.
We gonna have a good time. The whole show we playing the Makiyah Wilson song. We shouldn't be grooving to it, but at the end of the day, we gonna celebrate her life, and we gonna talk about some of the things that they are doing in the community to keep her name alive. So at this point, we gonna lift her up today.
Yeah, and it's okay to groove.
Yeah.
Because you have to celebrate the spirit in which the person was,
Yeah.
not the clay that they, sustained for the time they were here. We all get up with a job every day.
Yeah.
That's to activate this clay and to do whatever it is that God has assigned us in that day. Unfortunately, death is real, and it is the eternity of life. It is what we live for, the afterlife. And the reason why we grew to it, because this was a joyful person. This was somebody who was outstanding. Even at 10 years old, has accomplished a lot of things that God has already ordained her to do. So you celebrate people like that. When artists pass away, we play their music and we jam to them.
Okay.
When Jay-Z became a millionaire, they jammed, a billionaire, they jammed his records all throughout the week. And so we have to celebrate her in that same content, not because of the words and the lyrics of the songs. That's unfortunate. But the spirit of the person has lived its purpose, and God was well pleased in what she's done. And even 10 years, some of us will never succeed to the maximum of our potential, even if we live to 100. So at 10, she did that. And somebody probably didn't catch that, but they needed to hear it. Some of us will never exceed our potential, even at 100. But at 10, she did just that. And so we celebrate her in every way possible. These are artists who immediately went into the studio and made records that should be acknowledged. They should be acknowledged nationally, you know what I mean? And because they don't get enough play, Buzy with B is
Here
doing
we
that.
go. Here we go, right here.
So that's what's up.
Yeah. So y'all know I smile a lot. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
But again, we're going to take a break. When we come back, and it's going to be a quick break, when we come back, we're going to welcome Mike to the show along with his wife if she wants to come up. I don't know. I didn't ask. I just jumped her out there.
She pulling the Wendy Williams.
Yeah,
we got everybody here.
I didn't ask. But at the end of the day, it's a family show. It's a family affair.
Yeah.
And, why not let everyone enjoy and share their memories? So dad's side of the family here to hold it down.
Wonderful.
So we'll be right back after these messages.
Amen.
Facebook. Oh. See, it doesn't want to go. At least play the music, and then I can just All right. Yeah. We ain't on break because it won't go to break, but no, you sit, and then mom, you sit right there. Y'all little short people. Okay. Gotta get tight.
No problem.
Yes, that'll be nice. All four of us can really fit if y'all don't mind.
Move over a little bit. Good.
Yeah. That's sad. I'm so short. I can stand.
No, you
here.
really
Look
do
at
look like you sitting down.
That's what I thought. I can stand.
Oh yeah, we never went to break, so we can actually just start talking. Okay. That threw me off a guard. But hi Mike.
Hello.
Welcome to the Busy with B show. Hi Mama Dukes.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, um, tell us just about yourself and just how long you've been part of DC, and we can just go from there.
Well, my name is Michael Wilson. Born and raised in Washington D.C. Grew up in the Shaw Howard area. Played ball all my life. People's person. Love kids, and I'm here.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids.
You got two
Still
kids.
have Makiyah, and I have my son Michael Wilson.
Okay. And mom is here, so I want her to
Hello,
introduce
everybody.
herself.
I'm Pandora, Makiyah's grandma, and also Mom Dukes, as she said.
Mom Duke.
But Makiyah was my heart. You know, me and her fought a lot, and it was just crazy. And for a 10-year-old, she had an old soul.
She had an old soul.
She had an old soul. She liked all kinds of music. There was one Pacific song that she liked by Chris Brown. I never can remember the name. Something.
Sing it.
No, I can't do that. You don't want to do that. They'll find out if I start singing.
Go ahead,
No,
bust
baby.
it. One line, just one line.
No, Grandma can't sing. Grandma
Okay,
ain't even gonna
alright.
do that to y'all ears.
Okay.
But
Alright,
it's
then, alright.
it says something about the gosh, one for us, something like that.
Don't beat your brain up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't never remember the
If
name
it comes
of
to
it.
you, just
Yeah.
jump right in it. It's,
Okay.
it's okay.
It'll probably pop up.
It'll
But-
pop in there.
Yeah.
The
amen.
song was way above her age group, trust
And
me.
she really enjoyed it.
She's like, Grandma, you got to play this. And I'm like, Kaya, how do you know about this song?
I
She
think
said,
it was "Drunk in Love." If
That
it's the
one,
one on
too.
YouTube,
That's
it's not.
Jay-Z.
But I'm just
No,
saying.
but that's Drunk in
But
Love.
I know
But
that.
one
I know that
there-
over
no,
the.
it's another one.
Okay.
It's called, I had to look at my phone.
Okay.
But
We'll
every
get it
time we
before
got
you
in
get
that
out of here.
car, she be over there grooving.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Kaya, what do you know about this song? Grandma, I don't know
It's the
nothing.
beat.
I just like the music. And she just be like, hold up.
It's the beat.
Start Millie rocking in the car.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. We're gonna relive the day from your perspective. So where were you when you got the phone call that Makiyah and her sister?
That day when I got that phone call, I was over Berry Farms at the Goodman League, and I can remember Donetta calling me. I couldn't understand what she was saying, but once I heard Makiyah was hurt, I completely went numb. I still feel that same feeling to this day. I was numb. I couldn't believe what she just said. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, I was at Berry Farms that day.
Did I'm asking, so whatever you're not comfortable with, but did she die on the scene? Did she die at the hospital? Like, so
she
was it any
died.
hope?
She died on the scene because I believe the bullet went straight into her heart.
Oh wow.
And they tried to bring her back, but I mean, God didn't want her to go through that pain.
Right.
He took her away instantly so she wouldn't have to feel that. And I understand, but I don't understand his plan.
Mhm.
It's an issue because, like I said, in the city, even if she was alive, there was no hospitals close to the southeast on the south side.
Wow.
Even for them to take her to, like, they took my daughter all the way uptown. They didn't actually tell me anything on the scene because I know they were confused. They didn't know who I was. But man, I play that phone call every day in my head.
And so we are coming up on a year, the year anniversary of Makiyah. And I know that one of the things that you did was you went on a walk. Can you talk about that?
Well, the walk was for just to bring everybody in the city together, including pastors, so we wouldn't be scared to take back our streets. Because usually, a lot of times when shootings happen, you'll see people scattered. They won't come back to the same environment. Like, I want us to feel like we can fight for what's important, be willing to die for something, stand for something. We got to put these people on blast because at the end of the day, we're not being protected. The police officers are out here. They see what's going on. They see the laundering and the looting by the stores and on the corner. And like I said, Makiyah was a victim of that, of the laundering, the looting. So the walk was more about us taking our city back and standing for something.
And do you feel, I mean, it's a new question, but a year later, do you feel that anything has changed in the city? Do you feel that the police have even done enough?
Nah, I don't feel like they've done enough because the same things are constantly occurring. It's going on every day. We see it, we hear it, and I don't mean to laugh, but it's just you gave us housing, but you didn't give us protection.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the government owns the city, but the neighborhoods run it. They're not doing anything to stop it. Yes, the news reports it, but when are you going to do something about all the neighborhood thieves? You know, if they call in martial law, everybody suffers. It makes everybody feel like a prisoner in their own home. You can't be out by a certain time. You got to be in the house. And you're not doing nothing but living your life. So why do you have to be punished to get some order? I don't know. I don't see nobody. I haven't seen the president address the killings in his front yard, in his backyard. But you can talk about everyone else. It's going on. I know the president has a lot to do with running a city, but to me, the neighborhoods are running this city. Because if one of them tell you you can't come in this block, everybody gets lit up.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel, I mean, a lot of times, a year later, again, I'm getting into the politicians, the mayors.
Nothing has changed.
You know, a lot of people that's active in the community. And I know when it first happened, everyone was around you guys. And, you know, how do you feel a year later about that same community? And you can speak on that.
You know, we have the same dialogue, different tables. That's the problem. It's the same dialogue, just different at different tables, different people sitting at them. The consistency in the city, there is none. There's a lot of different things that are not addressed that really get down to this. And the number one really being, with all cut cards off the deck, is really dealing with the mental health issue in this city. Majority of these people who are committing violent crimes or crimes at all have a mental health diagnosis. I'm not giving an excuse to it, but I'm giving the problem light. And it's because they come through dysfunctional wounds. It's not just hurting people, but it's unmanageable people just obtaining the same behavior of being unmanaged. And so these babies are left to manage themselves, and the only thing that they idolize and that they strive to be like, it's what's on the TV screen. I was
going to say, what's on the TV?
And it's television, and which is television is to tell your vision in which to see and believe. Then you start to act it out. You know, unfortunately, Makiyah is a 10-year-old who was doing what she's supposed to be doing, was doing what she's supposed to have been doing as a child. Going outside to play is what children should be doing, not in the house on the cell phone. Being at the ice cream truck is what you're supposed to do at 10, because it's something that's consistent in your life that always comes around. So a lot of these babies are dying doing things they're supposed to do. The young man, Mr. Scott, he was killed going to the store for his mom, being at the corner store talking to some people, friends, whoever. He's in this community having a dialogue. That's doing something you should be able to do. So we talk about the city, we talk about politicians, but if we're going to talk about politicians, we just have to be real. We don't vote. We don't vote locally, which means that we don't have anything nationally. And this is what people fail to realize. We don't think about the mayor and the council members. We just go ahead and skip to the president and what color or descent they are.
Exactly.
And that doesn't matter when you live in a city that's governed by people who do not identify with color. They identify with who they want to be. And so you can have a black mayor, but if they want to be Caucasian, that's their action and that's their behavior. So that's their discussion at the table.
Yeah.
Everything in this city is pushing people out. Whether you have a little bit of money, you got some, don't have
Can't
none.
afford to live in.
Everything.
We know that.
And so when you take these babies out of the little bit that they had or have, and you put things around it that they will not be able to grab hold of. Why? Because they already have racked up several felonies. They can never live on that property because it's a small phrase in the contract that says you can't have a felony. But nobody reads 28 pages of a lease. Yeah. They don't. Let's just be realistic. What do I sign? My first month rent and deposit is what? That's all we want to know.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But there's things in the clause that makes us ineligible. So what do? You contain the control and the population around you by minimizing their lives and the natural. Then you take it from them in their person by giving them felonies and attaching basically dog tags to them. Everywhere you go, you're tagged with something. Mm-hmm. And so the only thing you're left to do is get rich or die trying. Yeah. And this is what these youngers are doing. They're doing this for a label and a status.
But they leave the neighborhood people to live in.
But what is but the real question when we just have to be real, what is the neighborhood? We don't see that. Neighborhood consists of love. Right. Neighborhood consists of neighbors. Mm-hmm. They don't see that. People don't speak. They call the police. They don't ask these youngers what's going on. They don't come here, let me holler at you. They don't pull them to the side. None of that goes on. There's a bunch of people in a neighborhood who knew or know nothing about each other. We knew our neighbors. We knew who house that was. Oh yeah, that's Mr. Carter's house. Yep. Don't lean on this fence, bro. Don't lean on that fence. Yep. Get up, because they gonna come out here. They gonna say something. But you respected them. Why? Because they respected you. So you knew the standards for their home. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You knew who you couldn't do certain things in front of, even if you had company. Hey, when you pull up, I'm the house on the right, but make sure you don't park on the left. You see what I'm saying? We knew the rules. Right. Yeah. So now they're not taught that. So it's just things that's going on that's unnatural. And so even when and that's the politician and politics side of it. But when you go and you think about Makiyah and the natural, I tell people all the time, it's hard and it will be hard for Donetta and Mike to understand because that was their baby. Right. So that has to be simply peace that surpasses all understanding that has to come from God. Right. Nobody's translation is going to ever change the way their heart feel. Exactly. God has to work on that. That's why the rib, if you think about it, the woman is the most important part of a body because God created a woman out of the rib. Preach. The rib is the only thing that you cannot live with. If you don't have a rib, you don't live. If somebody cave in your rib, you're done. You cannot operate on a rib. It has to mend itself. So all the brokenness that's going on comes from something that has to be mended, but it has to have consistent attention in order to be mended. Preach. And so this is not going on. So Makiyah as a person was the only person that could have been ordained to have almost 3,000 people at her funeral, because if it was somebody else, 5 people might not have showed up. See, God has something called an appointed time for destiny people, and she was a destiny person. Number doesn't make sense to man. But time, God doesn't worry about. He created it. So to us, it's strange. Oh, she was only 10. To God, she could have been 100. You see what I'm saying? His interpretation of time is not ours. That's why we don't understand it. That's why he separated night and day and called it as such. And so we get it confused sometimes. God, why would you take this? Why would you do this? Because for real, it would not take you to where I have for you to go. It's not just you that has to grow in this, but she had a purpose that shifted everybody. Now we look at life from a different perspective, because when we had it, everything was cool. It was certain things we probably wouldn't have really got into. But the only voice that's going to be recognizable in this crisis, in this season, is Mike's voice. Right. It's Donetta's voice. That's why it was their child. People don't like it, but when God does something, it's always uncomfortable. He never did anything in a comfortable place. So it's sometimes it's weird to understand it, but when you look at a 10-year-old that had a service at the multitude that she had, we know some people that's done some great things that ain't had that many people at their service. We know some people who've done some great things that a year later nobody remembers them. We can call out some people right now and you be like, who? They got killed where? When was that? Right. But if you say Makiyah Wilson, everybody, that was the 10-year-old. You talking about the little girl? It was ordained that way because only that name could hold that weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And it's uncomfortable, and that's why God has to give the peace that surpasses all the understanding, that nobody here down on earth can articulate that. That's why it's a him and them thing. And see, that's why people don't understand the process of grieving is serious. The process of support is serious. 3,000 people at a service, 80 people at a birthday party. 500 people RSVP'd. Who are you playing with? You see what I'm saying? Because people get consistent with a hashtag and a status. I just want to be there to say I was there so everybody can like it. Because influence is real.
That's what it's all about, like.
So they got it confused, and so people play these type of games, but it's fine. Because as I tell people all the time, sometimes we have to understand a lot of us probably wouldn't have to go through something if we would have got with this movement. Maybe somebody else, baby, didn't have to die. But when people get stagnant, like, well, you know, and then it rocks your house.
No.
Now I want the same thing that they were asking for. See, the Bible's clear. You reap what you sow. If you sow bad seed, you get bad results.
Right.
If you sow good seed, you get a harvest.
And let me stop you right there, Pastor, because I want to ask Mike a question. How are you dealing with your grief a year later? I know that you guys have the foundation for Makiyah Scouts, and so I know that's one of the things that you guys are doing. But I just want to ask you personally, when I can show some pictures of Makiyah. Just let a slideshow go, but while he's answering the question of, you know, just how you're dealing, that's Makiyah's sister right there, and they were shot together, and that's one of the ones I've been seeing. But a year later, coming up on, we celebrated her birthday, a couple of weeks ago, and that was awesome. Again, it's just like, even with just bringing this up and going there with you, I get chills in my body. But how are you dealing?
Well, believe it or not, I still feel Makiyah every day. I got a connection with her that's special. The Creator kind of tried to make the transition easy for me through the love of the people in my city, and I felt it. I felt the love through the people. And I get so many signs. My baby came in my dreams. She came to me as a form of a butterfly.
Tell that story about the butterfly story.
Well, I was at my son's football game, and I was just sitting there, and this butterfly just kept flying around me, and it took me for, I was lost for a second, so flew on my hand. Everybody started rubbing on it, and I'm like, "Oh, what's going on?" They told me that was Makiyah. Then it flew on my head and it stayed there, and I'm like, and it just stayed there, and I just felt it. I had chills on my arms, and I just felt her energy, and I know that I know this not it in death. I know we live on. She gave me that sign to let me know that she's okay, so I can be okay, and her mom can be okay. But I'm just going off of my baby's energy still. That's why I say I still got 2 kids.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, you have 2 kids.
You know, biblically, the butterfly represents resurrection.
Wow.
And so it's so much about, you know, Makiyah that's so spiritual that a lot of people don't tap into. And it means, you know, resurrection, and the natural, it means identification of life, a re-representation of life. A butterfly really never lands where there's drama and not calm. You see what I'm saying? So she landed and from where it came from. You see, we identify the woman as the giver of life, but the man is the instruction and the tool to give life. There is no consumption without a man being present. So she went back into the same form in which she went. She went to her father and then came to visit her father. And so much in the things that we have to start just breaking down and revising to ourselves in the spiritual aspect. And a lot of times we just have attentions, even me, because I'm human, to see the bad out of everything. But you got to take a bad situation and just start seeing the good out of it.
So much great things.
You know what I mean?
And that can help me transition to the next question.
Yeah.
Because so many great things have happened, and a lot of times I'm very spiritual, but I know when God take you through something, I mean, even though we may not understand, and I never try to speak to something that I've never been through myself, but what I will say is, when it's proven to me that when God takes you through something, He's bringing you to it. He's bringing you to a situation, and pay you double for your trouble. And though we can never get Makiyah back, let's just talk about what you guys are doing with the foundation. And Pastor, you can make and speak to that too, but you guys can bring some light to what's going on with the foundation and some of the things you guys are doing to keep her name lifted and alive.
Of course, wonderful. So probably about a good 2 strong months. We've started a foundation, the Makiyah Lee Wilson Foundation. And it's the Makiyah Lee Wilson Foundation.org on the internet. But we started this foundation just to simply be a supportive measure to families that have and that's going through this same unfortunate tragedy. This foundation is just a preventative measure. We want to be the preventative measure and not, the reaction measure to after it happens. We want to be there for the people. We have a crisis line. We have Makiyah Scouts. We give into the community. We feed the homeless. We clean. We put on different events. Like I said, we just had a birthday party, which was entirely free for the community, and people didn't show up. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't salute and honor, Mike and Donetta and their endeavors and how strong they've been for these last trying months. But as we walk up on a year, and even in Donetta's absence, because she just wasn't feeling it today, I wouldn't get, and we don't lie, so I wouldn't say she's not feeling well. She just felt like being a mom today. And as her pastor, I told her that's fine, and I'll fill in the gap for you, because I always keep her reminded that you have to be a mom first. She's working so hard, and she works tirelessly, effortless in what she does, and she's always doing it all day long. I'm talking about a woman that's not just a mother, but an entrepreneur, hairstylist, and still doing clients and the business of her daughter. That has to be commended, recognized, and celebrated. Because at the mere fact that, for, us as men, we give the baby.
Yeah.
And then you all got to stick with it for 9 months and then a lifetime.
Yeah.
That separation is very fragile. Because she's been on the ball since this all happened. She needed to rest. And the foundation is just to support them as a family, them as her parents.
Yeah.
Not that they always are going to be present, because I'm not going to allow it. They need to rest. Some things they won't be at. I just be real with the people. Some things they won't take pictures at. It's not that this is any funny business or anybody think that they like that or any of that. But it's just sometimes you got to be careful of the spirits that you let tackle onto you.
Yeah.
They're already going through enough. And people should be careful of trying to tackle onto their spirit, because you really can't take the weight of what they're going through.
You can't.
You see what I'm saying? So everybody rushes to a status in the picture, and I'm gonna be there, and you want a shirt, but you don't want to do the work, and I mean, whoever takes it offensively, it is what it is. But I say things and what I mean. This is why I'm the people's pastor in the struggle and of the streets, because what we're not going to do is we're not going to be able to tame this behavior, keep lying to each other. If we're not going to love the hell out of one another, just get out of each other's way. If you're not going to be genuine about how you feel about me, just go ahead and let me be. But don't let me be reckless and in your circle. Because then I need to know why you're not accountable to me if you're letting me be this reckless, and then I go do something dumb, and then you support me on the other end of the bars or the other end of the casket.
Exactly.
These things can be stopped, and that's just what this foundation does. So we are just a a organization that's there for families. We want to get to the point, and God will give us the point that we are there for these families when they have to bury these babies, that they don't have to just put them on what they can afford service.
Yeah.
These babies deserve honor, but when you have a city or some people who don't give you anything, that's charging you an arm and leg for everything, and they know that your baby was killed in their streets. You see what I'm saying? These families deserve it, and this is what we have really started this foundation for, because so many people got it twisted when this family went through turmoil. You know, they seen the dollar sign, and I think a lot of times, you know, they don't speak about it because from them it would probably be it'll be tainted. But from somebody who's known them over the years, and we didn't just grow up as me being their pastor. We grew up in the streets together. We was in the go-go together. We was having it up. You know what I mean? But a lot of people saw this family get a substantial amount of money on the internet, or they sold a GoFundMe. Understand something: to keep anybody's name alive, even if they're living, costs money. You think it costs over $100,000 to run a campaign, so you think it doesn't cost me more than that to keep somebody who's been transitioned still alive and remembered. You see what I'm saying? People get it twisted. It's no way, because when it comes to somebody else, you want the same thing. You need some substance in order to work.
Yeah.
Nothing is free. The Bible says if you don't work, you don't eat. So why do you think that it doesn't take a pretty penny to do something of that magnitude?
Yeah.
Because if any of us lost our baby, guess what? We'd be wanting to send them out in a crystal ball if we could.
Right.
And so it's rhetoric to sit there and for everybody to have a different opinion about what's going on, because be not mistaken, you can go through the same season times some. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't be ready. So be careful who you put your mouth on and what you put your mouth on. Because when God puts something in front of you, it's to show you that I can bring you through this. I can take you from something to something, but you're going to have to support somebody to get it. You know, so this is just solely what this foundation is: support. A liaison for the community, something that we can keep Makiyah's name alive, because a person who cared about people to that multitude at 10 years old, we got to keep doing it.
I definitely say Makiyah's impact. Just in my home, I have she just turned 9 years old, and I mentioned to her, you know, I said, I'm taking you to Makiyah's mom to get your hair done. So I've been supporting that and doing that with my daughter. But she looks forward to going to the shop to get her hair done. And, you know, and she didn't know Makiyah, but you would think oh, yeah, okay, like, mommy, but why that? You know, so it's just the dialogue and the talk and the conversation that we are getting from the legacy and the life of Makiyah. You know, it's unfortunate, but you know, the young kids are talking about it. The young kids are knowing about death. I mean, when we were young, when I was younger, we didn't go around thinking about death. We thought we'd live forever. Yeah. You know, but it's a conversation that I now have to have with my 9-year-old, you know, because our kids are dying out here. So it's really has changed. Yeah. It really has changed. I think we were just in a season where funeral homes were closing. Now they're remodeling. Exactly. And it's unfortunate, but it's the real. We have too many eulogies being preached and there's nothing being said. And that's another problem. So, you know. No, go ahead.
It's just one of those things that unfortunately we keep revisiting the same chapter 1 of this scenario. We have to get fed up as a people. And we have to get fed up as a people. I don't really know how much more to take, because you know, when I first got this news, I was in Chicago, and everybody messaged me, and they said, man, you know, Mike's daughter got killed, and I said, Mike, and I'm just going through my Instagram, and I'm just looking, and the crazy thing about it is that when I finally saw it, I just immediately messaged him, and I was just like, bruh, like, you know, even the pastor went on the shelf for a minute, because it really wasn't nothing that I could say or I could fathom to get the words to say it. I'm just like, I'm here. And you know what I mean. I've been walking with them since. You know, even in her service and all the things. I was just in the background because a lot of people wanted to be seen. They wanted to be seen. They wanted to have something to say, but their work has not been consistent. It's unfair to them. You know, oftentimes we always hear at the service, keep this family in mind. Keep calling them when nobody calls because the phone call's going to stop and the flowers going to stop in the car. It's for real. I think people just think that that's a part of the service. Yeah. Like it's just something that's in the program. Hey, make sure you let them know. No, it's for real. You know what I mean? 500 people RSVP for this baby party. This family went above and beyond. 80 people, and that was just in our check-in. There was lots more people that came through, but why did you take up space? Why did you? We're just trying to understand that we opened this free event up to the community because we're trying to let people know that don't just say this could be my baby on a hashtag. You need to really feel this thing. Like it's for real.
And if you really feel it, it makes you want to do something. I mean, I think, you know, for me, I didn't go meet Mike at the birthday party. I know people don't think this, but I am a little shy for real. But you know, I wanted to, and even when Makiyah passed away, and I realized it was Makiyah, and I realized it was Donetta, I was like, wow. And I didn't really know how to reach out or anything like that, and I waited months, and then I went in her inbox and I reached out to have her, you know, to see if she would be open to come to the show. And never thinking, you know, for once, it was just me. I more so think on the content of let us tell our story. You know, I see what the news report, and we see how they put these stories together, and I'm like, huh? And it was just important that even today, to let us tell our own story. That's right. You know, with no twisting, turning, and editing, and, you know, having us look in a certain type of way. And another point that I wanted to make is, it's okay. I always wanted Donetta to not apologize for the money part of it. You know, don't feel bad. And, you know, she had shared that with me one time. No, you don't apologize for what happened and the money that's coming in for this occasion. You
know, there was people all around the world that sold into this baby girl, and it was necessary.
Yeah.
If I could have funded the whole thing myself, I would have. You know what I mean?
We and are it's coming not about, from a...
You know what I mean? Us as a people, let me tell you something.
We already at a disadvantage.
Let me tell you something. Let's just call it what it is. You kill a Caucasian baby, and you don't have to worry about a GoFund nothing.
You hear me?
Because people will just show up. When this happens in our community time and time again, we're so concerned about, but I heard. Stop hearing and listen. It's always, you know, I heard. It don't have nothing to do with this because I say the same thing again. If it was your baby, you'll do the same. You don't have to think that I'm telling the truth. Just watch this. Look at your baby birthday party. He got to have on Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, all this. So you mean to tell me this the last time I'm going to see mines? And I can't do it all the way up and you do it on the regular? Because you trying to impress somebody? Like you live on Beverly Hills and you live on Barnaby Street? You need to know the difference.
Hello.
And so time and time in the community, we don't support each other enough because there's so much that if you get it before I get it, there ain't going to be none left. We don't serve a God with a little bit.
No.
We serve a God with a whole lot. So he got yours too, but you're going to have to support somebody in order to get what he has for you. And this is where the people fail at. And so time and time, I bring up the money issue because and it's nothing that they say to me personally. Right. As their pastor, I can see it, I pray for it, but I know the spirit of wicked people. And so wicked people use the excuse about what they heard or what they thought or it's an excuse for you not to be in your place. It's just like people make excuse to don't go and worship. I was last night I drunk a little bit, so I ain't gonna go. It's always an excuse. Well, I knew her, but I ain't really know her like that. Well, we was in kindergarten together. You make up all this stuff and you're still not consistent. When you care about people, it shows in your actions and in your deeds. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times when we do things, all the times when we do things, it's out of pocket. It ain't coming from nobody. You see what I'm saying? We do fundraisers so we can do what? We got 6 or 7 little Makiyah scouts that we give to in the community. We take them out on the weekends. God has just blessed us with a new facility. We'll be announcing our building and our grand opening soon. We have the right people touching and agreeing God can be in the midst. But when you got nosy people being around, it's no room for a blessing. And so the people who were around that backslid, were not consistent, it gave them an opportunity to see what was really going on. Because a lot of people hid the greatness of this baby, because there were so many people who really wanted to come in and love on this family, and there were so many people that took up spaces that, and I was just observing. This is just my observation. This is not anything that came to me personally. Nobody announced it. Nobody said it to me or said, say this. Nobody said any of that. This is what I observed. I was sitting there. I seen it with my own two eyes.
Right.
But people were continuously doing the same thing, not understanding that this family needs consistent support. And it's not just a hashtag. It's the real of really being there when they need somebody.
Yeah. Somebody said amen on Facebook. But
Amen.
look, it's really like the takeover pastor show. I already, you know how pastors are. They gonna preach, So I mean, I'm still, filled with a whole bunch of joy. And one thing I could say is, I try to be there, to tell our story, from our perspective and do my best. And obviously something, because you didn't block her and you guys are here. And I'm always grateful. I don't get anything out of this, but I am living my dream and my passion.
Yeah.
I get to sit in front of my Facebook friends and sit in front of people that I don't know and just be impactful to the community. And I'm going to hopefully be doing something with Pastor going to take me under his wing, because I have started my nonprofit. Amen. And it's Busy Being Beautiful, and it's to basically get out there in the community and get some of our young girls and help them transition. Of course, I won't turn the guys away. I'll probably, send them to other mentorships, but
what we and in this foundation, we have the Makiyah Scouts now. But me and Mike are working on something to develop for the young men.
Yeah.
We're not gonna leave them out.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We're not gonna leave them out. Mike has always been active in the community, and so he's gonna bring that platform of wisdom over to the foundation, and we're going to do some great things with the young men. And our facility is just going to be off the hook. It's going to be the breaking point of our empowerment center, which will be the struggle room. We're not going to really get caught up in the calling at church, but we definitely going to praise God.
That's right.
But we just want to empower people, in fact, just where they are. We don't want to have people going through no changes to get love. We think love should be a consistent thing and something that's easy. I shouldn't have to prep you to love me. I shouldn't have to push you to love me.
Right.
It should be something that's automatic. And so that's what we're going to do for the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we excited about that. And you heard it first right here on
Yeah,
the Busy
right.
with B show.
Exclusive. Just
So-
dropping jewels
Yes.
like they're supposed to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And thank you, Mom, for joining.
And this is the song.
Oh, she found the song.
Yeah, I had
Hold
to
it.
get my phone.
Let me see. What is it? Right here?
Uh-huh.
Right there?
Yeah.
You really found that song. Wow.
My baby loved that song. She said in
She
the
and then you're going to sing it, right? Because it's a
Is
couple
he gonna
verses.
play?
I like it.
Don't worry about
I
it.
turned it
My
on.
daughter, my daughter is she loves music. She loves basketball,
Yes.
but she can sing too.
She can sing.
She can do everything.
Yeah.
She can do everything.
Oh, the Chris Brown
She was
song.
just, Grandma, I got this. Hey, Kai, what do you know about this?
Well, that really had to be her song, too, Grandma from
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
I could not play it when she got in the car.
That's
Could
what-
not.
I
No
can
matter
vouch
where
for
we
that.
go. Hey, Grandma, you got to play my song first. You
Amen.
got to play my song first.
So now that we closing up, we about to close up the show, finish up the show. But is it anything that you want to tackle, or a memory, or anything that you want to share?
I mean, I do. This feeling that I'm feeling, it's not normal. It's not right. I feel like we gotta stand for something. It's time for everybody in DC, Maryland and Virginia, to stand for something, and it's time to expose ourselves. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
It's time to wake up.
Yeah, and really, it's just time to stop killing each other. We
Yes.
have enough to struggle against, and we start from nothing, guys. I really want y'all to understand we have nothing. When most communities, they get out of Southeast, get out and just go up Northeast and Northwest. I mean, I'm talking about the good parts of the city.
I got one thing to say too about
Go
that.
ahead.
I noticed I'm from Northwest.
Yeah.
It's lit up. It's a lot going
Talk
on.
about it.
When you come on the south side, it's so dark.
Yeah.
It's so
dark.
dark. It's nothing over there for us. It's like they forgot about the youth and the community. And honestly, I felt like we forgot about each other. A lot of politicians took away a lot of schools.
They building in Southeast. They
around us.
building all these houses that we
Yeah.
can't afford. I don't know when y'all gonna wake up, but it's nothing there. The leaders aren't there truly in the community teaching us and uplifting. So my hat's off to what you guys are doing with the Makiyah Foundation, because we need that. The kids really don't have anywhere to go, so we need that.
So, I oppose to every leader, church, religious organization that at least for the next 120 days, the church should have been open long time ago for 24 hours intervals. The church should have just been open, and we should have put that mandate all across the city, because we might have been able or could have prevented some of these actions that's going on. Everybody goes through a thought process before they do something, whether they consider it a thought or not. It's the way that the brain works. You have to give thought to it first, and that's what precedes the action. And so if these babies had somewhere to go, maybe somewhere to be, somebody to talk to, a lot of them are just disassociating dysfunction with love. And so if you're not acting dysfunctional towards me, I cannot recognize what you're saying. And so we have to change the language. We have to interpret to them. We have to be consistent in our interpretation, and we have to be persistent in our presence. And that means that we always have to be there when they need us. And some of us have forgot about that. And so all we want to do is show that we made it out. I got better than you, or I got what I told you I was going to get. And it's never that I'm willing to put down mine to help you pick up yours. And if I really do that right, I'll be able to come back and get mine plus some. And so that's just where we have to really be at with it. And just continue to, support each other like we do.
Please.
For those who, have questions, follow the Makiyah Scout page on Instagram. Follow the organization at the Life of Makiyah Wilson. Follow our website, the Makiyah Lee Wilson Foundation.org. We keep making these announcements about what to follow, and you all don't do it. And so we have to meet again at somebody else's candlelight, somebody else's service, somebody else's mother crying or need flowers and food, when we can probably really put some measures in play that can help these babies. You know what I mean? If you busy being beautiful, you should be handsome and wealthy. And that really comes from the inner. And so we want to do whatever we can do to help the community re-identify itself as somebody. These babies are in identity crisis. They don't know who they are. They're just trying to find somebody to be. So let's turn the mirror and show them how beautiful they are, and really love on that in which they see.
I really like that. Busy being beautiful, and what you say, handsome?
Yeah, handsome and wealthy.
Handsome and wealthy.
Handsome and wealthy. We'll
So,
be working on something.
This show was we brought light to Makiyah's life, her legacy, and the things that is going to take place for the. We gonna meet here again.
Yeah.
We gonna meet here again.
We've already friends to the show, but we're become official friends to the show. And your endeavors are our endeavors. We're people. We need to learn how to hold hands and not bump shoulders.
Hello.
And so if we do that, I believe we can love the hell out of each other, and we can turn the demographics around about us people, killing us people, understanding that in a minute, you ain't going to have nobody but Caucasians and Mexicans working for you anyway, because all your people going to be gone. They're going to be sitting up in the heavenly kingdom in their mansion viewing all the discrepancies down here, because we can't love one another. And so it's just unfortunate, but we can teach them love. We were taught love. Yeah. This ain't the first time we've seen this epidemic. It's the first time we've seen an epidemic of children in this type of species.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not our first time seeing violence on the rise like this. It's just no more guidelines. We know that violence is prevalent. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be somewhere. Yeah. But there are guidelines, there are rules and regulations to the street. Unfortunately, there's just nobody saying nothing about what they are.
Yeah. So I got it in the show right here. I'm going to end it with a smile and just uplifting, Makiyah Wilson's name. And I'd like to thank you guys for taking the hour out of your days to be here and bring some light and love to your baby and your adopted baby.
Yeah.
And thank y'all for blessing me.
Thank you.
This was a blessing.
This is enlightenment.
Yeah.
Love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you.
So
Your time and all that.
yeah, each and every Monday, right here at the Listen Vision Live Studio on Georgia Avenue, you will find Buzy with B every Monday right here from 6 to 7. See you next week.
Long live Makiyah.